Yes, this series continues. Like a bad smell that just won't go away, COVID refuses to go simply because we're sick and tired of it. It is still around and messing stuff up for everybody. We're not living post-COVID, but we are living post-restriction. You are not forced to behave any differently from how you would have done before COVID even existed. Even if you have COVID, you can still frequent public places and spread it onto everybody else if you really want to. But please don't do that. The free tests ended the other day. We tried to pick up some just before this, but they were predictably out of stock. Now you have to pay for the lateral flows. And it's not like there are any restrictions which require you do them anymore anyway. So while we've been good at tracking the disease up until now, I don't think it's possible anymore to still accurately track the case numbers. It feels like the floodgates have opened, the brakes are off, and that every other person has COVID right now. So while you aren't forced to do anything differently, I do still take minor precautions. I am going out and living life as normal, but I'm still cautious and do a test if I'm going to meet up with somebody old or vulnerable. I still wear masks in shops, and I still wash my hands after touching dirty things. It's no hardship for me to do these things. It doesn't impede my life in any tangible way. I think they're good habits, and that the hardship of enduring these things is outweighed by the amount of good that they do, and that if everybody followed these things, it would make the world a better place, even if COVID hadn't ever existed. So it is a little disappointing that so few of these possible benefits to society have stuck. Throughout this whole ordeal, I have been amazed at how difficult it has been for so many people to wear a mask in the first place, and it seems like they just couldn't wait to rip it off and to return to how things used to be. Where my friend works, they're expected to come in and work even if they have COVID, so long as they feel well enough to do so. That blows my mind, when 6 months ago that would have been unthinkable. But good old British work culture has returned, where even if you're ill, you should still come into work, even if it means that everybody else will be off sick later that week. So yeah, life has returned to normal if you ignore all of the people ill with it. If you're on a coach, there will be at least one person with a hacking cough. We walked on Dartmoor and somebody was there with a hacking cough. You're in a shop and somebody will cough at you as you pass them. I'm sure this sort of stuff was happening before, but having endured a pandemic, I'm much more aware of when this sort of stuff happens now. I feel like I live a bit behind the times. Since I work from home, COVID didn't affect me as much as it did for all those who worked in shops and stuff early on. But now that it's finished, I'm still in the COVID mindset, while it's apparent that everybody else around me is living very much with a post-COVID mentality. But it isn't post-COVID, it is still here, and the fear is it won't be going anywhere. It can make someone terribly ill, but that doesn't mean they won't get it again. It could come back and make them terribly ill in 6 months' time again. And the worry is it will just continue to bounce about society forevermore, in addition to all of the other illnesses that we have to enjoy. Every wave of this pandemic so far, it has felt like it has reached closer to home. It started with rumours of a shadow in the east, whispers of a nameless fear. Then it was friends of friends who had it. Then the friends online. Then several people I knew in the local area. This time it really feels like it's everywhere, with every workplace at half capacity because so many of the staff are off ill with it right now. A tipping point has been crossed. It is now rarer to not have had COVID than to have had it. Many people I know have either had it or have it now. We went up to London the other week. It's actually got one of the lowest case rates in the country. We stayed at a friend's house and within 24 hours of us leaving, they were ill with it. My girlfriend felt ill soon after that, but repeatedly tested negative. Yet somehow I still managed to have evaded COVID. Part of me is beginning to feel invincible, like I'm one of the lucky ones who can't get ill from it. But all that could change any day now, and you bet I'm going to moan when I get it, and how it came at the worst possible time. Being a YouTuber, I found myself helplessly outclassed the other week when I was in a room where everybody else had doctor in their title and several degrees under their belt. Not all of these doctors were literal people doctors, but some were. The reason I was there wasn't COVID, it was a social thing. I suppose when an average day of mine is reading comments from hundreds of people in the YouTube's comment section claiming to be experts on COVID, it was refreshing to be around actual experts on COVID and to be reminded that actual experts don't spend all their life talking about COVID and picking fights with others about it. And perhaps more staggeringly, they don't claim to know all the answers. It shows just how twisted my expectations have become from having encountered so many experts in the YouTube comment sections. Of course, I couldn't wait to tell them how I too was an expert on COVID because I had done some online research into it. All the doctors clapped and it was the proudest moment of my life. Now I don't want to give specifics about what these doctors said because I don't think they'd want conversations they had with me aired on the internet. That wasn't the purpose of our encounter. But I did notice that these literal qualified medical experts wore masks. And when I asked, they say that there was evidence that masks cut the transmission rate, and quite substantially I might add. They were also wary of using hand washes in shops because of all the alcohol-resistant pathogens that were likely on them. So I'm saying this not to pick a fight with internet experts, because I'm sure your words have value too, but just to highlight how different the experience of discussing COVID with experts in real life was. It struck me that real life experts were a lot less confrontational, were a lot more cautious with their claims, and despite them occasionally admitting that they didn't know something, for some reason I felt more inclined to believe what they said. So yeah, that was the reassurance I needed after having had so many thousands of people online confidently telling me that masks in fact help COVID to spread and will make me more ill because I'm breathing in my own bacteria again and again. Looking to the future, I don't know what to expect. If I had to guess, I'd say that sometime in the next month I will get COVID too, because with all the close encounters I've had in this past month, I can't believe I've managed to dodge it until now. It's getting to the point where I want to get COVID, just to get it out of the way with until the next variant comes around. At least then I might have a few months where I feel like I'm not about to be struck down with it at any moment, always worrying it'll be at the least convenient time. Now is a real test of people's character. The restrictions have ended, but the disease is still real. If you get COVID now, how respectful of other people would you be?